Hello. Hello, everybody. Should I wear my glasses? These are my special glasses. Um, so we're gonna go on with the. I consolidated these readings because they do follow a similar theme that I will talk about. I'm being called to discuss this factor and kind of the hidden message behind what these verses are saying. So I'll go ahead and stop accordingly when it's best to kind of bring up the topic. And this is a really important message for everybody. So, again, I appreciate all who are listening, and I'm glad that you decided to stop and listen to this for today. It shouldn't be too long, but it's going to be a little bit longer than the Surahs. But again, it should take no more than 10 minutes to go over this. So, again, we're catching up for 3 days here. And from the 7th, this is the promises from the Bible to all who maybe feel some sort of disappointment or hardship, right? So we're going to go ahead with these verses. The first one is Psalm chapter 22, verses 4 through 5. In you our ancestors put their trust. They trusted you and you delivered them. To you they cried out and were saved. In you they trusted and were not put to shame. And this is Isaiah chapter 49, verse 23. Kings will be your foster fathers, and their queens your nursing mothers. Excuse me. I put the wrong there. What is wrong with me? Okay. And their queens will be your nursing mothers. They will bow down before you with their faces to the ground. They will lick the dust at your feet. Then you will know that I am Lord. Those who hope in me will not be disappointed. And we hear and they refer to you, but they're also referring to the Lord. And just to kind of open up the topic, the Lord dwells within you as well, right? That is stated many times in biblical texts. Matthew chapter 19, verses 25 to 26. When the disciples heard this, they were greatly astonished and asked, who then can be saved? Right? So if we're all children of God and we all but we all sin, but we still all have Jesus in our hearts, right? Jesus looked at them and said, with man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. And this is Mark chapter 9, verses 21 through 24. Jesus asked the boy's father, how long has he been like this? From childhood, he answered. It has often thrown him into the fire or water to kill him. And this is referring to the boy who is demon possessed, right? But if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us. If you can, said Jesus, everything is possible for one who believes. Immediately the boy's father exclaimed, I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief. And this is John chapter 15, verse 7. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. And Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power, this is at work within us. And this is, so if you're feeling disappointed or angry at God or anything like that, this is a good opportunity to really think about what you want for your life. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to amount to? What do you want to accomplish? Really dream big, really aspire to have intense goals and desires, right? Anything we want is ours if we trust and believe and ask, right? And God also knows what's in your heart too, so you don't have to demand or put in a simple request or anything like that. God knows what is in your heart. You just have to make sure that your faith is also present with that. Okay, so we're gonna move on to 2:8. So this is for the other day, yesterday, right? And this is for those who are depressed or feeling some sort of depression. It's hard because you never really know where it comes from. Sometimes you do know the source, but it's good to jump out of it. These verses right here will help you now to jump out of that. Okay, this is Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 8. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will be with you. He will never leave or forsake you. Do not be afraid and do not be discouraged. So the Lord is always with you, right? Psalm chapter 34, verse 18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Oh, hold on. My recruiter is calling me. Let me just text her and let her know I will call back 5 minutes. Okay. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Okay. Isaiah chapter 49, verses 13 through 15. Shout for joy, you heavens. Rejoice, you earth. Burst into song, you mountains, for the Lord comforts his people and will have compassion on his afflicted ones. But Zion said, the Lord has forsaken me, the Lord has forgotten me. Can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion for the child she has borne? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. Right, so the Lord never forgets and leaves those who are his people, right? And he does distinguish that there is a difference between his people and maybe those not with him, right? But we can get into that. It's of course the Lord tries to save everybody, but we're going to kind of get into those who he considers his people, right? Romans chapter 5, verse 5. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. Okay, so this is a little bit of a precursor for what I'm about to say. We're going to go over these last verses, and I'll try to touch on this the best that I can. I know that I mentioned it before in my last really lengthy video, but this is for those who may have missed that long, like 50-minute video that I went in explaining religion and its purpose. But let's go ahead and go into the verses from today. So these are promises from the Bible if you feel persecuted. So say you have gotten into studying the Word, say you have gotten into more faithful activities lately, you may feel a bit of persecution. Or even if you've been religious your whole life and have been, active in your faith, you are going to face what the more modern term is called spiritual warfare. Kind of in the past, it was more actual physical persecution. People will get killed. And even though that still happens, it's less common. Now we may experience spiritual warfare, which happens in the metaphysical, right? So this is Genesis chapter 50, verse 20. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Psalm chapter 37, verses 1 through 2. Do not fret because of those who are evil, or be envious of those who do wrong. For like the grass, they will soon wither. Like green plants, they will soon die away. Matthew chapter 5, verses 10 through 12. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because there is a great reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So this is true the prophets and even Jesus' disciples, right, that went on to spread the word and preach and everything like that, they were all pretty much like violently murdered, which we don't hear about, right? We hear about Jesus' crucifixion, but we never hear about how the disciples actually died in such pretty awful, awful ways. Um, and this is what I'm kind of trying to ask you as a person of faith. Are you willing to die for your faith like Jesus had, like his prophets had? Even if it's in the most violent way, are you willing to trade your life and walk in their shoes? And this really is kind of a true test of faith for a lot of people. And I know it's uncommon now, but say you were given the option, how easily would you choose to walk in Jesus' shoes? That's what these next few verses are going to allude to. And okay, so so yeah, persecution, but don't fret, because you know the reward is much, much greater than what is here on earth at this moment. So this is 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 through 12. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. We always carry around in our body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus, oh my goodness, I have a repeat, so that the life of Jesus may also be revealed in our body. So this is actually a good stopping point while I adjust this. Death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus. So basically, what I had brought up before is a lot of people post the crucifixion of Jesus on this earth, right? A lot of people are given the option, if not all people are given the option as they die, when they die, if they would walk in Jesus' shoes, or they would like to see Jesus in action, be their disciple, or live in the shoes of that time. And you would be surprised how many people are unwilling to go through that hardship, even though some of you might be like, oh, that would be amazing to live how Jesus lived, and but then how do I say this? But then comes the problem, like people who are so used to this life, right? The luxuries of this life, to go back and experience that, and then also experience that intense persecution and the hardship of living, at that time, right? When there wasn't really any technology or comforts that we have in the modern day. And then also experiencing the painful, painful deaths and torture that had happened. You'd be surprised, a lot of people are actually very fearful of that and would not want to experience that. But what the apostles are saying is they've gotten to a point where they carry around the death of Jesus, so they have that experience, and a lot of Christians that are true to the faith also have that experience. They've been there and they've experienced that. And that's kind of a metaphysical tidbit that I wanted to touch on. And it's a very possible and true and real circumstance. And I kind of talked about in the last video kind of the multiverse and how that works, how we play a part in everybody's story, a different part in everybody's story, right? So everybody has, maybe not everybody, a lot of people have a life of Christ story, and then you have different people playing different parts in basically replications of this earth. But again, that's a very outstretched concept, right? But it is a message that has been pressing me for a very long time, so I just want to make sure everybody is aware and knows the possibility of that. And that's how we also share with the life of Christ, because we are connected to him in a soul tie way, right? So we're almost one with him. That's why He's always with us. He's always there because we've also experienced, that similar spirit within our own souls and that similar life, really. For we who are alive are always being given over to death for Jesus' sake. So that's, and I'll just go ahead and finish. So that his life may be revealed in our mortal body. So this is exactly what I said, right? We who are alive are always being given over for death for Jesus' sake, so that your life may be revealed, so that his life may be revealed in our mortal body. So that's why it's good to, act in the image of how Jesus would act, because even though we have our own unique spirits and souls, we've been there and we are supposed to let him live through us presently because we've been there. And it's important to remain with that connection, because we all want to be children of God. Most of us are children of God already, so we want to continue to uphold that strength and kindness and image, right? We really want to uphold that image. So then death is at work in us, but life is at work in you. So this is kind of like a double autonomy. I think that's the right term for this. But you can kind of reverse it. Like, are you us or are you you, right? So death is at work in us, but life is at work in you. Are you supposed to be living your life? Or is it saying death is at work in all of us, but life is at work in you, Jesus? Or, it could go both ways. And that's the kind of the special thing about the Bible and a lot of what it says. You can be you, or you can be Jesus, if that makes sense. Jesus can be you, or, you know what I'm saying? Whenever it refers to as you, when you speak it or read it, that word holds power, right? You is you. But it also refers to Jesus. So hold that connection tight. That's very strong. Very strong. So 2 Timothy, or two more books down. Okay, so 2 Timothy chapter 1, verses 11 through 12. And of this gospel I was appointed a herald and an apostle and a teacher. This is why I am suffering as I am. Yet this is no cause for shame, because I know whom I have believed, and am convinced that he is able to guard what I have entrusted to him until that day. And this is 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 3 through 14. Who is going to harm you if you are eager to do good? But even if you should suffer from what is right, you are blessed. Do not fear their threats. Do not be frightened. And that is it, everybody. What was that for? Okay, yeah, that was for persecution. So those are the three. So I hope after this you aren't disappointed, you aren't depressed, and you don't feel persecuted. And even if you do feel persecuted, just know that blessings are coming. And, if you think of karma and things like that, it's a real thing, because you do get rewards for bad things happening to you, which is weird to think about. You think it's a punishment, you're being punished. Not necessarily. There is such a thing as spiritual warfare. And if you are a righteous person, you're not being punished for being righteous. No, people are coming after you who don't believe in righteousness and who are on, polar opposite sides, maybe not even trying to attack you specifically, but their bad deeds may catch up to your energy frequency and it just doesn't work out. You know what I'm saying? So don't fret. And a lot of people, I talk with my hands, so if you notice my fingers, I did want to show you, I have a Jesus tattoo on my fingers, right? I have a bunch. We'll start here. This is King Tut. This is the order of which they lived, right? King Tut, my Jesus is right here. And he's very, very faded. Poor guy. It reminds me of the scene of Back to the Future where the photo starts to disappear. But poor guy, we're gonna get him retouched, right? And then this is my Muhammad, right? And this is my butterfly here. So, and then these are some different ones that I will announce in the future, but they're fun little tattoos. Yeah, and that's it, y'all. Nonsense. Great, almost 20 minutes. Well, I hope you guys stuck around and listened. I hope this helped. Thank you all. I will touch base with you tomorrow, if not the next day, but I'm pretty sure tomorrow is gonna work fine. Bye.